All right, let's just jump right into it. For the last couple of years, we've all been watching AI learn and grow and honestly do some pretty amazing things. But 2025 was different. This wasn't just another jump in what AI could do, it was a total change in AI's whole job description in our world.
And this quote, right here, it just nails it. We went from chatting with an AI because it was kind of a fun, weird novelty, to actually giving it assignments, It moved out of the chat window and onto the payroll. It went from being a really clever parrot to being a tireless intern that you could actually delegate to.
So what was the secret sauce? What was the big unlock that kicked off this whole new era of AI that was genuinely practically useful? Well, that's exactly what we're going to break down here.
The fundamental shift was moving beyond just answering our questions to actually getting things done. We're talking about complex, multi-step tasks, and it all hinged on one single, powerful new capability.
And that capability was reasoning. Now, this isn't just about knowing stuff. It's about being able to strategize. It means the AI can look at a big goal, break it down into a plan, use tools like a web browser or a code editor, and, this is the most important part, look at the results of what it just did and think, okay, that didn't quite work. Let me try a different approach. That's what transformed these large language models into powerful agents.
So here's the bottom line. You could now give an AI a goal, not just a one-off question. It figures out the steps, it uses the tools it needs, it checks its own work, and it just keeps going until the job is done. It's less like asking a search engine a question, and way more like handing off a whole project to a new hire.
And the place where this new agency just absolutely exploded was in software development, coding. Tools like Anthropic's Claude Code became the poster child for this whole new way of working. You could literally give it a prompt like, hey, build me a website that does this. And the agent would write the code, run it to test it, find the bugs, and then fix them itself, a completely autonomous workflow. It was wild. And the economic impact? Just staggering. Get this, by December of 2025, a single tool, Claude Code, was estimated to be on a $1 billion revenue run rate for developer tool. This just proved this wasn't some niche experiment. It was a massive mainstream commercial hit.
So with all this crazy progress, how do you even measure how good these things are getting? Well, funny enough, a developer named Simon Willison kind of stumbled into creating the perfect benchmark. He just wanted a picture of a pelican riding a bicycle in a specific format. A weird, creative, but technically complex task. And it turned out to be a fantastic test. The better an AI was at drawing that pelican, the better it was at all sorts of other complex tasks. The big AI labs even started competing on it.
Now, a technological leap this huge, it doesn't happen in a vacuum, right? It lit a fire under the major players, kicking off this incredibly intense, high-stakes race for dominance that completely reshuffled the deck.
And you could really see the fortunes of the industry giant shift. I mean, look at this. While Google Gemini was having, in their own words, a really good year just shipping update after update, OpenAI, who had been the undisputed leader for so long, reportedly declared a code red just to try and keep up with the fierce competition.
And this gives you a little snapshot of what that new frontier looked like. See, it wasn't about one model being the best at everything anymore. Things got specialized. So you might turn to OpenAI's GPT-5 for a really thorny scientific problem. But maybe you'd use Google's Gemini to summarize a 1,000-page document with beautiful, stylish prose. And if you were building software, well, Anthropic's Claude was the go-to purpose-built agent for that job.
But the biggest shocker didn't come from these big, famous labs. The real surprise came from the open source world, especially from Chinese labs like DeepSeek. Their models got so good and so cheap to run that they basically took over the entire startup scene. I mean, look at this chart. A jaw-dropping 80% of new AI startups were now building on top of these open-source models. It was a complete power shift in the ecosystem.
But of course, progress this fast, it's messy. It came with a whole new set of headaches and problems nobody really saw coming. You know what they say? With great power comes great problems.
And the first problem was the one we all saw and felt every day, slop. It got so bad that slop actually became Merriam-Webster's word of the year. The barriers to creating content were just gone, and the internet got absolutely flooded with low-quality AI-generated junk. All of a sudden, finding the good stuff mattered more than ever.
But there was a much deeper, more dangerous issue that security experts started screaming about, the normalization of deviance. Now, this is the exact same psychological trap that led to the Challenger space shuttle disaster in 1986. It's when you know something is risky, but you get away with it over and over, so you start to think it's normal.
Developers were running these super powerful coding AIs in what they called YOLO mode, just bypassing all the safety checks to go faster, and setting the stage for a potential security catastrophe of our own.
And yet, despite all the risks, the value of these tools was just undeniable. A new standard price point started to emerge, $200 a month for a professional-grade AI subscription, and people were paying it. Professionals in every industry were signing up because the boost in productivity was so huge that it just became a non-negotiable cost of doing business.
But that monthly subscription fee, that was only one part of the story. The real cost was quickly becoming a massive public debate.
The hidden price tag was energy. The AI industry's thirst for power is just off the charts. And in 2025, the public really started to push back against the endless construction of new data centers to power these models. The environmental cost became a huge issue, with hundreds of groups demanding a full stop to any new construction.
Which, in a weird way, brings us right back to our friend the Pelican. What started as this quirky little benchmark became the perfect symbol for this incredible, chaotic, and really complicated year. The guy who created it, his real goal wasn't to measure AI supremacy, he just wanted a cool drawing of a pelican on a bike. It's such a human desire, you know? And it's driving this unbelievable wave of technology. So at the end of the day, 2025 is the year AI got a job. It's a coder, it's a researcher, it's an assistant. But this brand new reality leaves us with a massive question, one that looks a lot like the one you see here. If AI is now a productive member of the economy, who's in charge of its performance review? When it screws up, or uses too much energy, or creates a new security risk, who's ultimately responsible? And that's the big conversation we're all going to be having in 2026.